Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, we can.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, happy New Year to you. I guess to the Property Council, I was wondering, I mean, what impact do you think these arrangements would have on the housing targets for some of the major cities like Melbourne and Sydney?
Thanks for the question, Senator. Look, we've outlined in previous submissions and in conversations with Treasury a number of case studies where you have quite significant projects that will be impacted by the changes as they currently stand. These could be as large as, apartment dwellings of potentially housing, up to 1,000 people. You replicate that across the economy, you look at different capital and regional cities and put that sort of pressure on the housing supply pipeline, and you have a genuine problem. You certainly won't be in a position to set the sort of ambitious delivery targets, 1 million, 1.2 million by 2029. You won't get very close to those, in fact, if you start to create choppy waters in this regard. I defer again to my colleagues for some more detail on the projects that they've seen, which are actually on the edge of being unviable as a result of this. But it certainly is a direct impact on our ability to make those 2029 targets. There are other factors, of course, in the delivery of those across the economy, but this is quite a significant one and also cuts against the grain of the government's very welcome build-to-rent proposals that we saw in last year's budget, which would unlock up to 150,000 homes over a decade. I pass to the Ashurst team just to give a little bit more colour and movement there.
Senator, thanks for your question. Just to reiterate what Mr Zorbas has stated, we've had conversations with foreign investors and sovereign wealth funds who are obviously, we're competing for their capital into this market to partner with build-to-rent projects, obviously. Given that other jurisdictions have got a more transparent taxation structure, the internal rates of return that are required from these global investors do not meet the target. And as a result, the capital is flowing to other jurisdictions that have a carve-out, such as the US, and to a lesser extent, UK. So from that perspective, we're in a global competitive capital environment, and this taxation structure limits our ability to compete.
Okay, so I guess, are there particular examples where you think housing developments won't go ahead because of the bill?
Look, we've certainly seen examples of investors looking at projects, doing the financial modelling on them, assuming that the bill passes and seeing that the return hurdles just don't stack up. And that's not just across the build-to-rent sector, that's more generally across development assets in Australia.
I guess I wanted to ask you then, I mean, I know it's a technical area, but the main issue here is the treatment of debt, isn't it, in relation to the debt creation, debt deduction rules. Is that the main driver of concern?
Certainly there are concerns around the debt deduction creation rules, but most of the issues in the build-to-rent sector in particular are driven by a third-party debt test that is overly restrictive and doesn't reflect standard commercial terms of third-party borrowings. And in particular, the development asset concession, which is intended to apply slightly more liberal rules for development assets, that really isn't fit for purpose in a build-to-rent space in particular, because of there being such a long time between completion of the development and having a building fully tenanted. And that creates real problems.
I just want to ask a practical question before I know others want to ask questions. So effectively, you're saying that there would be a commercial arrangement in place where debt has been brought into a transaction and then that cannot be deducted in the normal commercial way that one would expect a country like Australia to allow. That is effectively what you're saying, yes?
That's right. And so obviously the consequence of that is that it significantly increases the cost of capital and affects returns.
Fewer houses as a result. Okay, well, that's very helpful. Thank you for clarifying that. And you provided drafting, haven't you, in your submission that would help clarify this and deal with the issue?
We have.